They say Amazon is going to dominate the world, and that includes the book market. Okay, but what does the book market look like when Amazon actually does that? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and I have made a fairly big decision recently. And it's one that I talk about on my vlog channel either today or tomorrow. So if you haven't subscribed to the Apptrepreneur vlogs, please do so. You can check it out below. And that is that due to the necessity of life as it currently stands, I am going to, with a few exceptions, stop buying physical books and buy all digital. So that means, with few exceptions, that includes a classic book collection from Barnes & Noble me and Katie both want, favorite authors like Stephen King, Roger Ebert, J.K. Rowling, and Philip Pullman, maybe Dan Brown, I don't know, his books have been kind of crummy recently, signed books and manga. All the books I'm going to be buying from now on will be digital. That means mostly on the Nook, however, that also means the Kindle. In fact, you might have even heard recently, I made my first Kindle purchase in years. I was looking at Nook and Barnes & Noble, and I wanted to read Who Whacked Roger Rabbit. It was like $7.99 on Nook, it was $3 on Kindle, or I could buy it in paperback for $20 and figure out the logistical nightmare of where to store it. Now again, my decision for why I am going all digital on books will be described on the other channel. However, it does make me feel a little unclean almost. Not only because I might be buying digital books from Amazon, but because I know Amazon wants to control the book market. They want to control every market they're in, and I've always feared what's going to happen when that market is controlled. And according to this opinion piece in the New York Times, apparently there are already some clues as to what books can look like if Amazon completely takes over. So let's read this. The Sanford Guide to Antimicrobial Therapy, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but there you go, is a medical handbook that recommends the right amount of the right drug for treating ailments from bacterial pneumonia to infected wounds. Lives depend on it. It's not the sort of book a doctor should puzzle over wondering, is that a 1 or 7 in the recommended dosage? But that is exactly the possibility that has haunted the guide's publisher, Antimicrobial Therapy, for the past 2 years as it confronted a flood of counterfeits, many of which were poorly printed and hard to read in Amazon's vast bookstore. Quote, "This threatens a bunch of patients and our whole business," said Scott Kelly, the publisher's vice president. Mr. Kelly's problems arise directly from Amazon's domination of the book business. The company sells substantially more than half of the books in the United States, which is bad, including new and used physical volumes as well as digital and audio formats. Amazon is also a platform for third-party sellers, a publisher, a printer, a self-publisher, a review hub, a textbook supplier, and a distributor that now runs its own chain of brick-and-mortar stores, which we have talked about on this channel. But Amazon takes a hands-off approach to what goes on in its bookstore, never checking the authenticity, much less the quality of what it sells. It does not oversee the sellers who have flocked to its site in any organized way. This has resulted in a kind of lawlessness. Publishers, writers, and groups such as the Authors Guild said counterfeiting of books on Amazon had surged. The company has been reactive rather than proactive in dealing with the issue, they said, often taking action only when a buyer complains. Many times, they added, there is nowhere to appeal and their only recourse is to integrate even more closely with Amazon. Yeah, now we're going to read one more little paragraph. Well, actually 2 more here, and then we'll talk about some of the problems already. The scope of counterfeiting across Amazon goes far beyond books. E-commerce has taken counterfeit goods from flea markets to the mainstream, and Amazon is by far the e-commerce heavyweight. But books offer a way to see the depths of the issue. Quote, "Being a tech monopoly means you don't have to care about quality," said Bill Pollack, a San Francisco publisher who has dealt with fake versions of his firm's computer books on Amazon. Now, this is where I have to step in and kind of let you know what my dog in the fight is, because I have published books before. I don't know how many people know that, but I have. You go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, you search Kevin T. Rodriguez, you can buy my books. They're usually inexpensive. You could also buy them in paperback, or if you become a $100 or more patron, which, by the way, Aaron, this means you're getting one, I will send you a physical book signed with an inscription. That's shameless self-promotion, obviously. So here's the thing. I have obviously benefited from both Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Kobo, because there's multiple e-book stores, not regulating a lot. Now, granted, I'm not writing things that are potentially damaging in my eyes. I'm writing review books mostly. I am reviewing movies, Oscar-winning movies, to be precise. That's my bread and butter, and I published a blog about a Japan trip that I took several years ago. It's like 99 cents. It's honestly not very good, folks. Please don't support me by buying that one. I should probably take it down. So I have benefited from their lawlessness. That said, I am definitely seeing the danger of having counterfeit books. Not only do people, because here's the thing, when people go online, they don't always see pictures of the product at hand. They are looking for one thing mainly, a price. In fact, I had to kind of talk to my mom because we're looking at wedding rings, and there's a specific one that I want. It's a Hans Jansen or a Hans Jensen Lord of the Rings authentic wedding ring. Or a replica ring. You know, that's going to be my wedding ring. And she went on eBay, she found all these different rings, and she said, hey, they're like $400 cheaper than what you're looking at. And I'm like, yeah, they're $400 cheaper for a reason. Look, I've been doing this long enough, both as a seller and a buyer, to know that if it's cheaper, you always want to look at it closer. However, not everyone does that. They just want a cheaper book. So therefore, they see, hey, the entire Battlestar Galactica series is on DVD for $15. I'll buy it. Who cares if it's fake? It's on DVD. It's $15. And they're buying these counterfeit books. Now, if they're just copying the books, I mean, that's bad enough. That's copyright infringement. But what this doctor is talking about is that some people are writing their own versions of the books. And the books might have bad information that is not true. Can you imagine wanting to pick up a book about vaccinations? And there's a lot of misinformation about vaccinations going on in the world right now, thanks to the anti-vaxxers, which I am not one of them, despite the fact that I, medically speaking, can't get many vaccinations because I had Guillain-Barré when I was a kid. You can look it up if you want. It was a lot more serious back then than it is now. Still kind of serious. I can understand why this is a problem, because you don't want people buying books with potentially bad information. And if Amazon wants to be the dominant player, they probably should be taking this a little bit more seriously. They should probably be putting safeguards in place that if you are selling like an educational book or medical, that book has to be reviewed. And if it's something about as serious as, say, for whatever the term is, like if it's a medical book, a dentist book, whatever, that they should have real doctors, dentists, and maybe even the FDA overlook it and see if it's appropriate for publishing. Let's continue. An Amazon spokeswoman denied that counterfeiting of books was a problem, saying this report cites a handful of complaints, but even a handful is too many and we will keep working until it's zero. The company said it strictly prohibited counterfeit products and last year denied accounts to more than 1 million suspected bad actors. And yet, somehow, fake manga appears all the time on Amazon. Quote, there is a strong competition amongst booksellers from major retailers, independent booksellers, the spokeswoman added. What happens after tech giant dominates an industry is increasingly a question as lawmakers and regulators begin taking a harder look at technology companies, asking when dominance shades into a monopoly. This month, lawmakers in the House said they were scrutinizing the tech giant's possible anti-competitive behavior, and the Federal Trade Commission is specifically examining Amazon and Facebook. I think Amazon and Facebook and Google, those are the three major ones. And then Apple, and then I think to a lesser extent, Microsoft. In Amazon's bookstore, the unruly behavior has been widespread, aided by print-on-demand technology. Booksellers that seem to have no verifiable existence outside Amazon offer $10 books for $100 or even $1,000 on the site, raising suspicions of algorithms run wild or even money laundering. The problem with fake reviews is so bad that the FTC has already gotten involved. And by the way, we talked about that yesterday. And here, you want to know how easy it is to publish a book? I like sharing this, and this is probably self-promotion as well. But take a look at this. This is one of the books I wrote. This is the complete unofficial 86th Annual Academy Awards Review Guide. By the way, do you like the cover? My friend Anna, She did it. I'll probably hire her. And there's like a nice little back cover. That's 12 Years a Slave, which won Best Picture that year. And inside there's images, there's words, there's all this stuff. This looks like a fairly professionally made book. And yet, it's not professionally made. It's my book. I made it. And it looks very professional, as you can see. And if I can do that for this, I could do that for Harry Potter, Stephen King. I could do that for Charles Dickens, especially classic books which are in the public domain. And I can just make it look a little professional and charge a lot of money for it. I can even make it look vintage, and it's not really vintage. So, yes, I could definitely see how counterfeiting books would become a problem. So, those who write a popular book open themselves up to being summarized on Amazon. At least 8 books purport to summarize Bad Blood, John Carreyrou's best-selling account of fraud in Silicon Valley. The popular novel Where the Crawdads Sing has at least 7 summaries. Discover a beautiful coming-of-age story without all the unnecessary information included in the actual novel, says one that has 19 5-star reviews, all of which read as if they were fake. And then there are counterfeits. And this is a counterfeit version of Daniel Trostani's acclaimed memoir, Falling to the Earth, on Amazon, misspelled the author's name on the cover. And yet, except for that, it looks fairly professional. Quote, "It's unacceptable and I'm furious," the author Andrew Sean Greer tweeted after people complained last summer that fakes of his Pulitzer Prize-winning novel Less were being sold as the real thing. There was a counterfeit edition of Daniel Trostani's acclaimed memoir, Falling Through the Earth, on the site that misspelled her name on the cover. Lauren Groff tweeted that there was an illegal paperback of Florida, her National Book Award nominee, on Amazon. Dead writers get hit too. Arthur Miller's The Crucible was pirated. So was a volume of classic stories by George Louis Borges. For 18 months, Amazon has sold a counterfeit of Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, despite warnings in reader reviews that it is a monstrosity, dispensing with such standard features as proofreading and paragraph indenting. Technical books, which tend to be more expensive than fiction, are frequent victims. No Starch Press has tried to squelch fake editions of its computer manuals for 3 years. Mr. Pollack, No Starch's founder, said Amazon had the same laid-back approach to bad actors on its platform as Facebook and YouTube. Amazon is the Wild West. So here's, by the way, an example. Let's open this up. Don't buy this version. It's like, don't buy paperback from CreateSpace independent publishing platform. Layout terrible for reading. So they're talking about this as a format, not the book itself. So basically, here's the problems. It's one of those self-published printings where the unprofessional layout renders it nearly impossible to read. There are no indents or spaces between paragraphs, so you can't tell when a new one starts or stops. The left margin is practically in the crack of the book, so you almost have to split the book apart to read it. And the font is sans serif, so it's scientifically slower to read. I sent mine back and ordered the mass paperback version instead. That's what one of these reviews looks like. So, this is not really negligence on Amazon's part. It is the company's business model. Amazon, which does not break out revenue or profit from book selling or publishing, assumes that everyone on its platform operates in good faith until proven otherwise. Quote, "It is your responsibility to ensure that your content doesn't violate laws or copyright, trademark, privacy, publicity, or other rights," it tells prospective publishers and sellers. And this is where there's like a huge dilemma, by the way. Because out of all the things that I complain about Amazon about, this is something that is very nice. Especially for someone who made a little, I wouldn't say fortune, but a nice little living being a third-party seller on Amazon as well as selling my books. Which, actually cracked the bestsellers list a couple times, believe it or not. I like the freedom that I have by just publishing there. And even though I would much rather people buy my books on Kobo or Nook, people buy them at Amazon more. So I like the fact that that exists. However, here's one of the other problems. If, let's say, Amazon ends up taking over the book department like the title suggests, like the entire book industry, then Amazon probably could take this to the next step. They could actually become the editors of the site. You submit a book and it gets reviewed. Now, this would catch bad actors, of course. However, it would also dictate that Amazon decide what gets sold and what doesn't. They might decide you could write a opinion book about how Disney is basically screwing people over with their Disneyland prices. And I think a lot of us agree that Disneyland prices are too high. Yet Amazon does a lot of business with Disney. They might decide not to publish that book, even if it is factually sound. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to say they should be more proactive. I think this is about as best it can be. But let's look a little bit more, because I think this is I think, well, like, for example, like this is one of the counterfeit books. And yeah, that's pretty bad. So the whole article here talks about all the problems they have. By the way, this is the original copy of the Sanford Guide to Antimicrobial Therapy left, and the counterfeit that was available on Amazon. And on the surface, you can definitely see a difference. Like this one, the colors are better. The red's definitely a little weaker here. There's blue all around. There's some white here. So yeah, it's a counterfeit book. And you wouldn't think that a book like that would be worth counterfeiting, but it is. So anyway, then of course there's a thing like, the real author may get cheated, but Amazon still makes a sale. That's the incentive to doing this. This is a whole article. It's definitely worth reading the whole thing. However, it's pretty clear that counterfeit books are a problem on Amazon. They're a very big problem on Amazon, and a lot of people say that Amazon has no incentive to fix this problem because they are a monopoly, and they are absolutely right. When you sell more than 50% of books across the whole nation, you are a monopoly. However, I also fear that by forcing their hand, it would also cut out a lot of third-party writers. There are a lot of writers who actually get their start on Amazon. They write a book on Amazon, it becomes an unexpected bestseller for Amazon, of course, and they make a lot of money. And then their next book, they actually get an advance from a publisher because they saw the Amazon sales ranking work. And Amazon, I also have to admit, they have great revenue share things. Like if you let them have more of the sale, they will promote it more. And if you don't want that to be the case, you can keep more yourself, but you're promoting it more yourself. So there are positives to the way Amazon does this. Now, the reason we're not talking about Barnes & Noble and Kobo is because they don't control the book market. They just don't. So now my question with Amazon, I really wish Amazon, of course, would go away. I think people should sell stuff on eBay or Barnes & Noble Marketplace. Or maybe Best Buy or Walmart to create a marketplace as well. I think Walmart does have a marketplace. They have Jet. However, the trade-off is if Amazon does start working a little bit tougher on these counterfeits, that they start, reviewing things before they get published, you will cut a lot of third-party sellers out of the loop who might be doing this legitimately because the company thinks it's not a real book for whatever reason, or because they don't agree with what you've written. It is true that Amazon needs to figure this out. My advice is always this: look at the price. And if it's cheap, it's probably cheap for a reason. So anyway, this was a lot longer than I expected to be. I'm going to leave the whole article below. It's a very, very fascinating read. However, I would like to know what your folks' thoughts on this are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you ever bought a counterfeit book off Amazon? In fact, I wonder, let's go to Amazon real quick. I hate going to this site. It makes me feel so dirty. But let's look for something. Sailor Moon, because I like Sailor Moon. And let's go to DVD. Okay, official. I think these are all official. I'm impressed. It seems like they've actually ooh, that one might not be real. Oh, this is not real. See, this Sailor Moon, Sailor Stars, a complete series. This is counterfeit merchandise. That's real. Oh, here's another one. Sailor Moon limited edition box set 2. That's a fake DVD. What else do we have here? This might not be fake. That might just be Australian. This is fake right here. Actually, they've done a pretty good job cleaning this up. There used to be a. This might be. I don't know if that's fake or not. That might be Italian. That definitely looks fake. This is fake. If it ever says zero, a region 0, it's fake. So, yeah, there's fake merch. Yeah, this is probably fake too. There's fake merchandise on Amazon all the time. So, anyway, one of the downsides. But have you ever been bit by a fake product when you bought on Amazon? I mean, you could. I know you buy them on eBay, but specifically Amazon. How many times has it happened? Do you think Amazon should take a bigger control of this problem, or would you prefer they take a more hands-off approach because you don't want innocent authors and publishers to get caught in the crossfire? I would love to know. So, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also, if gas prices are getting you a little bit down in the dumps, check out the Get Upside app below. It's totally free, but you get cash back on every gas purchase. And if you want to talk to me or other fellow Amazonians or authors, rideshare drivers, whatever, we're kind of chill. Check us out at the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.